Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about some things that some vehicles you can use, or some things to actually pay into, especially if you left your retirement planning a little bit too late. But you're not just know that you're not alone. There's a lot of people who left their retirement planning very late, and the best time to start is now. Okay, so if you find this informative, please like and subscribe, and also if you have any ideas what you would like me to talk about, or individual, or if you want me to explain some of the things, I can do that for you. You're welcome to comment. Okay, yeah. So, what I want to talk about today, I have mentioned it briefly before, is your tax-free savings account. Especially if you've left it late. Obviously, the earlier you start, the better. So, if you start at 18, 19, 20, you've got 13 years and 8 months to pay in, if you can pay the maximum in each month, which the maximum each year. In other words, if you can pay 3,000 Rand a month, which is a lot of money for a lot of people, if you can pay 3,000 Rand a month every month in, then you can obviously reach your 36,000 Rand a year. And then if you pay that in like that for 13.8 years, 13 years and 8 months, I should say, then you'll have 500,000 in, which is your lifetime maximum that you can pay. Obviously, not everyone can do that. So if you pay a smaller amount in, however much you can pay in, and obviously the earlier you start, the better. But if you can pay in, say you're paying 1,000 Rand a month or 2,000 Rand a month, then maybe if you get extra money somewhere, like a bonus or something, then you pay a little bit extra in. It all helps. So try and pay as much as you can, especially if you're starting late. But it can be done. It can be done. So yeah, if you pay in, you can expect a growth rate of about 8% on your investments. It's not an absolute. You can get more, you can get less, but don't assume more than 8%, because you're just dreaming of returns. Sometimes it'll be less, sometimes it'll be more. Okay, so if you can build up that, then you can build up a fairly sizable amount, and also you get dividends. So if you can pay in if you can reach your 500,000 limit, and then you get your dividends out. I worked out, if your tax-free savings amount is worth 1.25 million, 1,250,000, then it works out, if you get a dividend yield of 5%, which is quite likely, you can actually get around about 5,200 Rand a month. It works out at 60 something thousand Rand a year. So it actually works out at 5,200 Rand a month. So at that amount, and that's also quite conservative, the total amount, but that is dividends that you get, that money you receive tax free, and that can add to your other things, like for example your monthly RA that you're getting. You can, if you're getting a pension or whatever, you can add it to your other amounts. But yeah, so that's why it's highly worthwhile doing that. And then yeah, like I say, you can pay as much in as you get to your RA. Your RA, you do get a lump sum, so you can use that lump sum to invest in something, or to do whatever you'd like with it. And like I say, I'm not a financial advisor, but you can you can use that money to also grow, or put into maybe like a money market account or something, to keep like a short-term needs. And then obviously your 2/3 will go to a monthly pension, which you then will get monthly, and that will obviously be added to your dividends. Another worthwhile thing is, if you have a stockbroking account, you can obviously earn dividends through that. The difference is the tax-free savings account, usually you will be investing in ETFs. So your ETFs will pay, it'll pay your dividends, and you can actually invest in more things. For example, if you invest in a stockbroking account, because for example your ETFs, you can invest in quite a wide range of ETFs, but mainly local, and then obviously some overseas ones, like I'll actually go through the list now, but with your stockbroking account, it's obviously not inside the ETF, it's outside the ETF, because then with that you can then get dividends from also from local companies and from like US companies and even other countries. Plus obviously you can have ETFs there. Okay, the other thing you can also have is you can also invest in unit trusts. You can let your unit trust grow. Some unit trusts you can also have inside the tax-free savings account. Obviously, everything inside the tax-free savings account grows tax-free. So in other words, you don't pay any tax on the growth inside the tax-free savings account, whereas outside the tax-free savings account you do. So how it works is your tax-free savings account, you say for example your units grow, and your unit trust or whatever, your shares grow. Obviously, when you sell, when you sell with the tax-free savings account, then all your growth, all your dividends, there's a dividend withholding tax, but they don't charge you that with a tax-free savings account. There is just the foreign dividends. You do pay a little bit on the foreign dividends, but basically apart from that, you don't pay anything on the growth. And that also brings me to another thing, the a REIT, which is a property. It's a property ETF. It's actually worthwhile to have that inside your tax-free savings account, because how that works, instead of getting like dividends, you don't get dividends with a REIT. You get a distribution. Now that distribution is taxable in your hands, but if you have it in your tax-free savings account, then there's no tax payable on that. So it's worthwhile to have that REIT inside your tax-free savings account if you can. Okay, so you've got inside the things you can choose usually from your tax-free savings account, depending on where you have it. Like I say, Satrix has. I know Easy Equities got Easy Equities. I know they've got ETFs, and I think they've got some shares, like for example FNB, and I think not 100% sure on that. You'll have to check that out for yourselves. But for example, most of them are like indexes or replicating indexes. So in other words, you've got the top 40, which is this JSE top 40 companies. You've got that index. You've got the All Share Index, or ALSI, which is your All Share Index, all the shares in the stock exchange. You've got things like the financial, the FINI, the RESI, so that's the financial shares on their own, which is obviously the banks and the insurers and all them together. You've got the RESI, which is all the mining companies and everything. You've got healthcare even on their own. You've got the property, which is worthwhile to have in your ETF, in your tax-free savings account, if you can get one there. I know Satrix has a property REIT. Okay, and then also what you can have with, I know with Satrix they do have a S&P 500 there. It's a feeder fund. So there's the S&P 500 fund, and then the Nasdaq. In other words, they buy obviously in at the rand price. They convert it to dollars. They buy part of the index, and then when you sell, they convert it back, and then they give you the rand price. There's a Nasdaq as well, yeah, and the S&P 500. And then obviously, if you're investing outside the tax-free savings account, if you invest with some of the brokers, then you've got more choice. In other words, there's a lot more options to invest in. You can invest in individual shares. You can invest in other ETFs. The ETFs, there's a lot of ETFs that you can invest in that's outside the realms of the tax-free savings account. In other words, there's one for there's actually a couple for semiconductors. There's 2 or 3 that I know of for semiconductors. You can invest in just technology only. You can invest in the small caps. It's called the Russell 200, which is the American small caps. You can actually, with the tax-free savings account, there is also a smaller cap. I think it's a medium cap. There's a medium cap that you can choose with the on the unit trust side of the. So there is a bit of an option, but there's a wider option outside the tax-free savings accounts if you look at that. Now, also obviously you get your when you retire from the fund. In other words, you can retire at any age from 55 through to, I think it's 65. Then you have to retire from the fund. You can retire from the fund even if you're still working. And but then you retire from the fund, and then you start getting your monthly pension after that. So yeah, so you can do it. Yeah, it's retirement is something that creeps up on all of us. You think it's very far away, and it's actually not so far away. So you have to plan, and you have to be ready, and you have to try and do everything you can. Like I say, try your best to especially if you're late starting, to pay in that 36,000 or as much as you can, much as you possibly can each year. Yeah, there's ways of doing it, but you try your best to pay that in, and yeah, you need to have some cash and some reserves. The ideal is if you have enough that you can actually live off your dividends and your monthlies that you get, and then you have some money to fall back on. Obviously, you've got the actual shares and the ETFs and everything that you can actually fall back on if you need it. Okay, so I hope some of you found that informative. If there is any questions, you can ask me, and yeah, please like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, like I say, the time and time in the market's not always great. It's time in the market that's better. So yeah, people are saying the market could be due for a correction. It might be. They might be right. They might be wrong. People say it's due for a correction. It can go up another 50% and then correct 10%, and then they say, "See, I was right," but they've missed out on 40%. So, but yeah, they won't tell you that. They'll tell you, "Oh, look, we predicted it." But no, look, and if you're using something like rand cost averaging, dollar cost averaging, you're also limiting yourself as you're not limiting yourself. You're limiting your risk, because you're paying in every month. So if you're paying in every month like that, if the stock market, if the market comes down, if you're buying ETFs, you're buying more units at the lower price. And then each time it goes down, you're buying more units, and then when the market recovers, then your units that you have are worth more. So it goes through a cycle like that of ups and downs. But over time, if you're buying like that and you're not spooked out of the market, then definitely over the long term you're going to do well. Okay, so thank you very much, and have a nice evening.